I'm Sugar Plum Fairy Tina Pereira, principal dancer with the National Ballet of Canada. Sit back, get comfy, and relax while I tell you the story of the Nutcracker. Have you ever argued with someone you really love about the silliest things over and over again until it nearly ruined your whole day? Well, that's exactly what happened to Marie and her brother Misha one Christmas Eve a long time ago while they were preparing their barn for a party. A barn may seem like an unlikely place for a party, but in 19th century Russia, when Marie and Misha were growing up, it was perfectly acceptable. Magical even, with the moonlight dancing in the warm glow of the lanterns and the snow falling gently just outside the doors. Marie and Misha were beside themselves with excitement as Peter, their friend, swept the floors and kept them clear of rats. But even the promise of a party was not enough to stop the children from arguing. They went on and on until Baba, their nanny, stepped in to separate them. How exhausting. But all was not lost. Soon enough, the barn was filled with music and dancing as neighboring families came in from the cold wearing lovely warm hats and scarves, ready for a celebration. Without question, the most fascinating guest at the party was mysterious Uncle Nikolai, who arrived with a horse and carriage filled with gifts. Uncle Nikolai always had some sort of magic up his sleeve. He was the sort of person who could pull an orange from behind your ear and turn it into thin air. Poof! That Christmas Eve, Marie and Misha watched in astonishment as Uncle Nikolai brought two huge bears into the barn to twirl and skate as though on ice. Then he unhitched his old horse and danced alongside it, his red cloak swirling around him. The surprises didn't end there, for Uncle Nikolai had brought a gift for every child at the party. He handed them out one by one until at last he came to Marie. But by that time, he hadn't a single gift left. Marie was heartbroken, as I'm sure you can imagine. It feels terrible to be left out, particularly at a party. But Uncle Nikolai was such a quick thinker that Marie didn't suffer for long. Out of nowhere, he produced a beautiful soldier doll, the Nutcracker, and gave it to Marie, who fell in love with it completely. Unfortunately, the Nutcracker was so beautiful that Misha and Marie began to fight over it until finally their father took it away. After the party, the children went to their room empty-handed and fell into bed without resolving a thing. Uncle Nikolai felt sorry that Marie had lost her Nutcracker, even though she had argued with Misha. So, at the stroke of midnight, he snuck into the children's room and placed the Nutcracker beneath the little Christmas tree in the corner. He moved so quickly and so quietly that nobody saw him, apart from the mice. What happened next is almost impossible to believe. The beds began to rock and shake, waking the children to see their Christmas tree growing a towering height. Best of all, the Nutcracker had come to life and looked just like their friend Peter. Other creatures flooded into the room, including a rooster, a ram, and an army of cats and dogs engaged in battle. The cats had only just triumphed in this fight when they were attacked again, this time by a terrifying mouse czar and his unruly pack of mice. The czar was a fierce opponent and moved quickly in his flame-red cloak and elaborate crown to topple the cats. The Nutcracker, who was very brave, stepped in to fight the evil mouse czar with all his might. But it wasn't until Marie and Misha put aside their differences and launched a pillow fight against the czar that he was finally defeated, and they collapsed on their beds with relief. The Nutcracker thanked Marie and Misha for their bravery by taking them on an enchanted journey. As if by magic, the bedroom walls gave way to a glittering land of ice and snow where a majestic snow queen greeted them with a pair of shimmering icicles. Next, the children boarded a boat made of ice and traveled further still to the glorious palace of the Sugar Plum Fairy, who captivated the Nutcracker with her serenity and strength. She was accompanied by an enormous court of attendants and the Grand Duke and Duchess, who looked just like Uncle Nikolai and Baba. Marie and Misha shared their adventures with the court, who rewarded their courage and cooperation with a banquet of the most delicious food, including luxurious chocolate and sweet-smelling coffee that nearly put everyone to sleep. The palace was full of animals, from runaway chickens and a brilliant bumblebee that darted in and out of the most colorful garden of flowers. It was almost like being in the barn, outside their own home. At long last, the Nutcracker joined the Sugar Plum Fairy in a beautiful dance. There was so much kindness between them and so much joy that the children began to understand that the two were in love. Now, here's the thing. Maria and Misha were also feeling the love for one another as brother and sister. They had gone through so much together that night that they knew they could never go back to their old ways of fighting. They were growing up. When the dancing was over, the magical kingdom began to fade from view, and suddenly the children were back in their room, their journey now complete. Was it all a dream? No one can say for sure. But as far as Maria and Misha were concerned, life would never quite be the same again. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story. Wishing you and yours a happy holiday season.